How's it going, guys? Like usual, it's me, Scruffy, and after about 2 years of playing Mortal Kombat 11, and after the devs decided that they're done supporting this game, I decided to break down and finally do my own Mortal Kombat 11 character tier list. So as you can see here, we have the categories from OP all the way down to the lowest tier, and we got the NPC just because Kronika's added in this list. So I'm going to go through each character one by one, explain where I'd put them on my tier list, and why. This is my own opinion. These are my own thoughts on the game. I might not know a lot about every character, so please leave comments below if, you think a character is lower or higher than it should be, and then give a little bit of reasoning why you think it is. These are just my own personal opinions. You guys have your own. Before we start, I'm just going to go out and say that tier lists really don't mean anything in this game. A really good player playing with a low tier character is still going to beat a really bad player playing an OP character. This is more about your skill set in the game. It's going to help you win more than what this character is. But with that being said, certain characters do have better tools and are better equipped for winning. So a bad character is going to have an easier time getting carried by, let's say, Centurion than they would be with someone like Rambo. And that's just how it is. So, without any further ado, let's get into it. So we're going to start with my main here, Baraka. That's right, Baraka is my main. He's been my main since the beta, and then I switched over to playing more Raiden. I don't consider Raiden my main, though I probably should start doing that because of how much I play Raiden. But Baraka doesn't really have a whole lot of tool sets, at least in the variation I use. It's kind of a give and take between doing combos, and that's with the gutted variation, which takes up 2 slots, or mix-ups, which is with leg kebab and the blade lunge. So that's the one big issue with Baraka, is he has really good damage with his combos, but he has no mix-ups. He has a low starter, but he doesn't have any overheads. So pretty much you just block low against Baraka, and he's not getting any combos on you. And he's going to have to resort to grabbing, or switch variations where he's got his command grab, which is a little bit OP in my opinion. It's one of the better command grabs in the game, just because of how far it lunges. It's got a pretty fast startup. And it has a similar animation to his back 2, which is an overhead. And this is a command grab, so it's kind of hard to differentiate between the two. So the one you can neutral duck to avoid, and the other you have to stand block. So either way, you can get hit with either one of those. And Baraka does have some of the worst movement in the game. He's just kind of slow. But we are going to throw him in the okay category, just because you have to trade off between having mix-ups or having good damaging combos, and slow movement, and then that command grab is actually keeping them out of this low tier. Next up we have Cassie Cage. If you guys watched any of the King of the Hill streams, somebody always requests I play Cassie Cage. I do not know how to play Cassie Cage at all. She has one mix-up from what I've seen. She has decent tools for zoning, though they're not the greatest. She's just an character in my opinion. You don't really see a whole lot of Cassies online. That's just because she is I really don't have much of an opinion on Cassie. I think her plot in the story is kind of stupid, at least in Mortal Kombat X it was. Mortal Kombat 11, I really don't remember much of her in the story other than that first chapter where she's got to save her mom. But I'm going to throw her in with Baraka just because she doesn't really have that it factor. Coming up next, we have Centurion. We're just going to throw her in OP right away. I actually got in an argument with someone on YouTube the other day about Centurion, about how she's not good up close and she's only good as a zoner, which is a lie. She is the best zoner in the game, if you ask my opinion. She is the best teleport in the game. She can teleport in the air, unlike Raiden, where is he? Raiden and Scarlet. They can't teleport in the air. She jumps up in the air and she can teleport. And it's not like Scorpion's teleport, where he can jump up in the air and, where is he? Where's Scorpion? Right here. Where he can jump up in the air and teleport, but that's an unsafe teleport. Her teleport's safe on block. Well, I mean, he doesn't hit you, so it's just a safe teleport. She can jump up in the air and do it. She can jump in the air and do her little fire throw. So she can zone you out pretty easily, and if you get close to her, she can teleport mid-screen or right behind you and just keep dashing away while you're trying to dash forward to her. But up close, she's got that her armor breaking move, the air push, I believe, or wind push it's called, and then she's got that rising boulder move. Those are also two very OP moves. They're both safe on block. The one's the armor breaking move that restands, which is really good for an armor breaking move. It doesn't do a whole lot of damage, but it restands you. So she can just hit you with a low, she can grab you, She can do whatever she wants to you, basically, after you get restand, and you just kind of have to guess. All of her normals are really quick on startup, too. So when this guy's on YouTube saying, oh, like his actual comment was, you must be terrible at the game, Centurion is horrible up close. No. She is very good up close because all of her normals are pretty much safe on block, and they have very quick startups. So even if you get in close on a Centurion, they're just going to keep mashing those buttons on you. So for that reason, Centurion is OP because she's OP up close and the best zoner in the game. And if you guys remember Casco at all, the very toxic trash talker who now refuses to play me, who I haven't heard from in like probably 3 months now. He just kind of disappeared, which is good. He plays Centurion all the time, and all he does is spam with her, and he thinks he's the greatest. It's like, no, it's only because you're using an OP character, and people don't know how to counter her. Luckily, I know how to counter Centurion. Just play Raiden. Honestly, that's the best advice I have for countering Centurion. Play Raiden. Up next, we have D'Vorah. Really, the only D'Vorah you really see online is Honeybee. He's pretty much the best D'Vorah I've seen. Otherwise, D'Vorahs really isn't that great of a character. I'm kind of rambling here. I'm not going off script. I hate when you see YouTubers go on script, so I'm just going to ramble on and try and spit out my thoughts. It's more natural that way, I feel. A little bit more enjoyable. I don't know if it is for you guys, but it is for me. Because then I'm just not reading off the screen being monotone. Anyways, so D'Vorah. She's got really good range. And if I remember correctly, she has some lows, but she doesn't really have any natural overheads. Other than that one where she just, brings her pinchers up and smashes you in the face. But that one has a pretty slow startup, and I believe it's pretty punishable. But you can see it come out, so it's not that big of a deal. Her really only good thing is her range and her little bugs when she drops that pods and the bugs come out. But those are limited range too, where they come up to mid-screen. So if you see that drop, you just back up, or if you hit her the second that drops, the bugs don't come out at all. So for that reason, D'Vorah, you're in the low-tier character. So if you guys ever watch Honeybee, he will dominate with D'Vorah. That is a sign or an example of a great player using a bad character and being good with them. So Honeybee, if you're watching this, probably not. I'm going to give you props for being able to play with D'Vorah, because she's not a good character. Here we have Erron Black. Erron Black is one of my most hated characters to go up against online. Why? Because he's safe. All of his normals are safe on block. He's got relatively quick startup. He's got good range. His down 3 is OP, if you ask me, or down 4 when he just does a little low kick. Because that knocks you out of anything and he steals his turn right back. And all Erron Black mains do online is mash that, I think it's either back or forward 2-2-2. I'm not really sure. I've tried playing Erron Black, I just can't get him down. Because I like doing combos. His combos are a little bit hard to come out. But most Erron Black mains just mash that 2-2-2 move. And that's a mid, overhead, overhead. So you're basically stuck, trying to block that, which, they're overhead, so you just high block, but he also has his slide and a couple other low moves that he can mix in there, so that makes it a 50-50 guessing game every time you play him. Like, which overhead is he going to whip out? Is he going to throw in a slide before one of the overheads? And you got 2 overheads to worry about, so which one is he going to special cancel into that slide? And he has the best slide in the game. It is unsafe on block, but it's got the very similar startup animation to his drop kick. I'm not sure what button input that is, but the one where he just runs whole screen and then just drop kicks you, and you can amplify it, and it's safe. And that's safe on block, and if he hits him 2 in a row, it's a crushing blow. That move alone is good enough to put him in the OP status, if you ask me. Because that drop kick and the slide have very similar animations, startup animations. One's a low and one's an overhead. So again, that's another 50-50 anytime an Erron Black is anywhere on the screen from you. Because if he's far distance, he can just whip that gun out. He has that rifle with the 8 shots, which for the first 8 shots, it's really good. It comes out really fast. It reminds me of Stryker's gun in Mortal Kombat 9 with how fast the bullet comes out. You don't really have time to dodge it. It just comes out the second you click that button, you're getting hit with that projectile. But Erron Black is... I do hear a lot about how he's such a weak character. I don't agree with that. He's one of the strongest. But he isn't OP. He's just a great character. And I really like Erron Black as a character. I just don't like how he is set up for this game where he's just a masher. And that's just how they designed him. I hope he comes back for Mortal Kombat 12, and I hope they make him better than they did for Mortal Kombat 11. Keep the character design, though. The character design's really cool. They improved a lot from X to 11 for Erron Black. Next up we have Frost. Frost was actually my second most used character behind Baraka right when the game first started out. I unlocked her right away in the story mode, and all I did was play with her. And when the game first came out, nobody knew how to counter her, so I could get a whole lot of free wins just by playing Frost. And a lot of people did complain about it because she's OP, but she has, once the game has developed these past 2 years, it's a lot easier to figure out how to beat her. She doesn't really have any good mix-ups. She has that one low, but she doesn't really have any overheads, and that one low string where it's, I think it's the back 1, 2, down 1, something like that, or back 3. I don't know, you guys know what I'm talking about, where it's the low, the mid, and then the overhead. That move is very punishable on block, so not a lot of people whip that out, and that's really her only low starter she has. She has the other where it's the 3, 4, 4, 2. That one is a low, and that one tricks people quite a bit actually because it goes from a high to a low, but that is a very slow startup and is just a very slow animation overall. So that one move, which does a lot of damage and is pretty good for comboing into, just is way too slow to be effective. A lot of her specials are safe on block though. So like her death spin where she pulls out the blade and just spins in a circle, that's safe on block. That's a really annoying move. Her ice auger, that one is safe. Her ice lunge though, or her auger lunge, whatever that is, that one is unsafe on block. And her where she freezes you, that move, that one's unsafe on block. So she's got a couple of specials that are safe. She's got a couple specials that are unsafe. And her normals are, most of them are safe, and then she's got the one that's unsafe. So we are going to throw her in the good category for now. No, she could be better with a little faster startups, maybe a little more mix-ups. You do that, and she's in this OP status. Because Frost is a good character. I really like her. Next up, we have Giris. They pretty much nerfed this guy out of existence. Game first started, he was OP. He has the most crushing blows in the game, from what I can tell. And they're relatively easy requirements to get him too. He used to do a whole lot of more damage than he does now. I believe when the game first came out and Gears first getting played, for 2 meters you could do about 50% damage. Now with 2 meters you're doing like 40, I think either just under or just over 40%. So they nerfed him quite a bit on his damage. His strings, his normals are safe. A couple of his specials are unsafe. And his really only mix-up is his 1-1-1. You mix that up because that last hit of that 1-1-1 is an overhead. And if only that one hits and he grabs you, that's a crushing blow. But a lot of Girises will not use that. They will go 1-1 and then they'll do his low sand trap, which it's not the greatest mix-up, but it's a decent mix-up. It gets people a lot online, but that sand trap is punishable, especially if he's really close to you, because that 1-1-1 has really limited range. So he's got to be up close to you, so if you guess correctly on that mix-up, then he's eating a full combo punish. So that's keeping him out of the great category. Not really much to say. His specials are good. That sand trap, though, is pretty OP, where he sucks up the sand underneath you, because that can reach anywhere on the screen. So that's going to keep Erron Black in the good category, but it's just going to keep him right out of the great, just because of how unsafe it is, and his damage nerfs keep him out of that great OP status. Next up we have Jackie Briggs. I don't play Jackie Briggs at all. I haven't even tried her in practice mode doing her combos, but from what I've seen online, Jackie is the most annoying character to go up against online, and that is because she is OP. All of her normals are safe, all of her specials are safe, Sans a couple of them. She's got good range, and her bionic bounce where she jumps up in the air and shoots that little fire or whatever, the plasma down on you and traps you, that move is OP. Jackie needs to be nerfed out of existence. I like Jackie. I did like her storyline in the story mode. Her plotline, her chapter is really good, but she's just super annoying online. She's one of the most broken characters, and like Kabal, she treats the floor like it's lava, and they need to change her for Mortal Kombat 12. Bring her back for 12, make her moveset different. Make her more like Jax. I feel like if they made her just like a female version of Jax, which they kind of did already, but with less jumping, then she'd be a pretty good character. Alright, now we have Jade. Jade was the original spammer, and they haven't really nerfed or buffed Jade at all in Mortal Kombat 11 that I've noticed. Again, I don't play Jade. When I did the How to Beat Spammers Jade episode, I had to practice her combos just so I could do an episode about how to beat her, because I have no idea how to do her combos. But if you play against enough Jades online, you will figure out very easily how they play and how easy of a character she is to beat. So, I know a lot of people have problem with Jades. If you ever watch Sikander's videos, he always calls Jade the most broken character in the game. Jade is pretty much a teabag every time he plays him. Pretty similar with me. He's probably the only person that hates Jade more than I. But I probably lose 1 in every 100 games to a Jade, just because of how easy she is to figure out and beat. She has good range, she's good at zoning, and she's got that shadow move where your projectiles go right through it. But if you have a character that can teleport, like Raiden, then Jade isn't an issue. Her other problematic move is that staff move, where she leans back and whaps you with the staff. The second hit, that's a high, so you can neutral duck that, and the second hit, there's a gap between the first and the second hit, so you can punish it with your quickest mid, and you get a full combo out of it. So really, Jades are super punishable if you know what you're doing. So that's going to throw her in the great category, but not in the OP category. I was struggling for a while between whether she was OP or not, but her gaps make her great, not OP. I've played good Jade players before. I know that's like an oxymoron that doesn't exist, but I have matched up against good Jade players, and they don't stand a chance against my Raiden. Like, they will know how to tech Storm Cell. They'll use different moves and mix-ups, and will try and get me with everything, but it doesn't matter. Usually end up beating them in 3 rounds, with the last round I have about 80% of my health left. Jades just aren't what they used to be ever since being able to figure out how to counter them. Now we're moving on to Jax. Jax, I really like this character, but I don't like him in Mortal Kombat 11. He was really fun in X, but I just don't like him in 11. He is designed to mash. All of his normals are safe. Like, all of his specials are pretty much safe on block. The one ripped move, you can neutral duck that, as you saw in my last video. But that's, you do that, but that's only if they amplify. If they don't amplify, it's safe on block. And every Jax main just mashes. That down 1-2, that's the most OP down 1 in the game, because you can combo into the 2, which is also high, and you can neutral duck that too and punish it. But that's more risky and not as easy to do as other moves. So if you've ever played a Jax player online, you know all they do is mash. I know a lot of people think Jax is lower tier, but no, he's a great tier. He does have limited range, but he does have that one move that lunges you forward, and it's either a command grab or it's a mid. That move there bumps him from good to great, just because that adds a lot of range to his character, who otherwise does not have that great range. So you can whiff punish Jax quite a bit with his normals, but that special move, if you try and back away from him, he can whip that out, and either you have to guess between whether he's going to grab you or whether he's going to hit you with a mid. He also has pretty good tools for zoning, so I've played a lot of Jax that try and zone me out, and it's really annoying. But Jax does have the tools to zone. He's got some lows, he's got some arching. He's got that arching grenade launch, which you can't neutral duck, you can't jump over. That one's pretty much hitting you. You just have to block that one. So yeah, he's good zoning, he's good up close. Just about that mid-range is his only really weakness, and the only thing keeping him in this great category and not OP. Moving on to Johnny Cage. He is another character that's kind of hard to gauge. He's got really quick moves, but almost all of them are highs. He's got one low move, so if all you really do is just block low or even neutral duck when he's coming at you, you can hit him with a down 2 crushing blow almost every time, because all of his startups are highs. So you can whiff a lot of those, and you just hit down 1 or down 3, and you're poking him out of his move. He has decent range, not the greatest, but his moves are fast, and he's got some of his specials are safe on block. There's a couple, or he's got a bunch too that aren't. So Johnny Cage, we're just going to throw him in the OK category. His speed is what's keeping him out of this low tier, in my opinion. I've played Johnny Cage. I like playing Johnny Cage. He's pretty fun to play, but he's got those issues. I think give him a couple more mids and change some of those highs to mids, and you've got a great character right here. But he's just okay for now. Kabal, he's another one like Jackie who just hates touching the ground. All of his normals are safe on block. All of his specials His specials are actually pretty unsafe, but you never see a Kabal just whip out a random special unless they're a really bad character. He does have that Nomad Dash cancel, so that move is pretty good for him. But what's going to make Kabal OP is the fact that he has that air gas move, which is safe on block. It's 2 overheads in a row, so he jumps, you can kick you, and then before he hits the ground, he does air gas and kicks you again. And that move is super annoying. It's got super great range. It is so safe on block that you just see Kabal just spam that move over and over again, and you're stuck just sitting there blocking, waiting for him to stop, and they're not going to stop. I played a Kabal the other day. We were both at the end of the game. We both had like 10% health left, and he just did that. He did that move over and over and over again until the chip damage finally got me. Because that's all he had to do. I couldn't do anything because I try and punish him. You can't. It's hard to down 2 out of it because of that kick 3, up 3, whatever it is, the jump 3. So you can't down 2 him out of it, and Storm Cell wasn't working. So all that was happening was he was just chipping me out until I finally lost. So Kabal, you're OP. Kabal players, learn how to stay on the ground. I play Kabal. He's a fun character to play, but Air Gas is just no. Get rid of that. Get rid of that move, NetherRealm. If you bring him back for 12, get rid of that move. Next up, we have Lord Kane. Kano. I started picking up this character, and he is a lot of fun to play. All of his normals are safe on block. Doesn't really have any mix-ups, per se. His specials are pretty unsafe on block, but he's got that acid move, which makes him safe and does chip damage, or like damage over time. You can amplify it if you throw the fire down, and like the person still has that acid on them, and they walk into the fire, they get stunned for a minute. So because all of his normals are safe on block, but his specials are unsafe, we're going to throw him in the great category. He also has the best down 1 in the game, and he's got some of the best command grabs in the game. He is a really good character, really fun to play. The thing keeping him out of the OP stats is that his specials all of them are pretty much unsafe on block. But his normals are safe, so if you ever played a Kano, you know that most of the time they'll just do a move, usually the forward 1, 2, back 2, and then they'll immediately go down 1, mash down 1 a bunch of times. And that command grab that he has, the lumbar check, that can come out pretty much on everything. So a 1-1 lumbar check, a 1-4 lumbar check, down 1 lumbar check. So that move makes him great. But his other special is just keeping him out of this OP status. Next up we have Katana. She's another character that I'm going to throw next to Johnny Cage here. She doesn't really have many mix-ups. Her one mix-up is that low fan toss, which is pretty easy to read because the combo that I'm referring to, I don't know the name of it or the button layout. It either ends in an overhead, which if just the overhead hits, crushing blow, or she can throw in the low fan toss. Now most times they'll throw out that low fan toss. That move is safe on block if they amplify it, but it's also really easy to flawless block, so it's not a huge issue, though it is a little bit problematic that you have to spend a defensive and an offensive meter just to punish her. That's if you do a flawless block attack after the flawless block. I only do flawless block attacks, so I'm not sure if you flawless block it, if there's for enough frames for you to do a normal mid-punish with that. So if somebody knows about that, let me know in the comments. But she really doesn't have any mix-ups. She has good range. She's another zoning character. I don't care what people say. She is designed to zone. So again, you have a character with a teleport. You have Nightwolf with his reflector, and she's really one-dimensional then, and she's got to fight you up close. She has her air flutter move that keeps her in the air for a second. But again, any anti-air is going to kick her out of the air the second she jumps, because she has to jump, do that move, and then she can hit you. So the second you see her jump, she'll probably do like a jump 2 or a jump 3, and then into air flutter. So you see that, and you just do an anti-air. Pretty easy to counter. So that's going to keep her in the okay category. It's not going to bump her up to good, but it's her zoning, and a lot of her normals are safe, so that's going to keep her out of this low tier character with Devora. Next up we have Collector. He is another one that's kind of hard to gauge. He doesn't really have any mix-ups. He's got one low, but it's really slow on startup. And, he's got 2 lows. He's got the one where he throws the ball and chain at your feet. That one's got a slower startup. And he's got the other one's the forward 1. That one's faster on startup and has a mix-up at the end of it, but that ending is very, very punishable. So you don't see collector mains using that mix-up really in-game, because if you guess right, you're hitting them with a full combo punish. And if you guess wrong, you're only getting hit for like 80 damage. I think it's not a lot of damage if you get hit the last hit of that mix-up. So the risk reward isn't really worth it. Though he is really good because he's got that his little toss where he tosses the ball and chain at you. That special move that you can amplify and it stuns. That move you can cancel it without spending any meter. So that's really good. A couple of his specials are safe on block. He has the best armor breaking move in the game, and that's that little lantern absorb thing. I don't know these moves names, but he's got that move. And what's good about that is a lot of armor breaking moves. You have to decide or like choose between whether you're gonna finish a combo and get more damage, or use an armor break and hope that they break armor and try and get a crushing blow. He doesn't have a crushing blow to it, but that his armor breaking move launches your opponent no matter what. So you can use it if they don't break armor and you're not losing any damage, or you can use it if they do break armor and you're getting extra damage. So he has the best armor breaking move in the game, in my opinion. But what makes him really annoying is his 4-4-3 move that where he launches the ball and chain at you. He hits you twice. One's a high, one's a low, one's a high, one's a mid, one's a low. I think that's how it is. That move has incredible range. It's got a quick startup. It's got quick recovery, and a lot of collector mains just spam that move online, and that makes him super annoying. And that move alone is going to throw him up in this great category. He also has a mid command grab, so you can't neutral duck it. So if you're going to read that he's going to try and grab you, you have to try and jump over it, and that can be hard to do, especially with that high ball and chain move we just discussed, where he can either mix you up between that command grab or that move, and that move does launch too. So if you get hit by it with mid screen, it reaches mid screen, you're getting launched, and you have to eat a full combo without him using any meter. So he's a great character, but he's not OP. Just because he doesn't have a whole lot of mix-ups, like natural mix-ups, but he does have the ball and chain, the command grab. Coming up next, we have Kodokan. He is another character. He does a lot of damage. I think he's in the top 3 for highest damage combos in this game. He doesn't have really any mix-ups. He's got one low, and I don't think you can really combo into that low. But he's got no overheads. A lot of his normals are actually unsafe on block. But his specials are safe on block, and he has the best command grab in the game. Most command grabs, like Collector and Kano and even Robocop, are a 4-button input, so it's down, back, forward, and then whatever button you need to grab it. He's just down, back 2, which is super easy to do. You can combo into it from anything, well, not everything, but like a down 1 into the command grab works. You do the 1-2 into the command grab works, and that there becomes a mix-up. The only way to avoid it, because it is a mid command grab, is to jump over it. But then he can just use a different special and hit you while you're in the air and get a combo punish or whatever he wants with you. Plus his totems, he's got the damage buffs and the resistant buffs. So I've seen a video, I forget who it was, maybe it was Andy Otam. He's probably one of the best Kodokans I've seen online. He threw up 3 of those totems, the resistance totems, and someone grabbed them and it only did 30 damage. So for a grab, which is a really risky move because you can tech it or you can down 2 punish it, and if you don't down 2 punish it and they just whiff, it does have a long recovery. That normally does 130 damage. So he grabbed Kodal and it only did 30 damage. So that those resistant totems do help a lot with the amount of damage you take, but the other totems actually do a lot of the damage buff totems do a lot more. His command grab too, if you grab someone, gives you a damage buff. He's got a parry that has a damage buff, and he's got his sunbeam that he throws up. It does damage to you and it heals him. So if you have a sliver of life left, you'll see a lot of Kodals just run away and then throw up that light beam and sit under it so that they get health, and you can't do anything because you come anywhere near that and you're hit with damage. But because a lot of his normals are unsafe on block, he's just going to be in the great category, not the OP. His damage and his specials are keeping him in this great category, though. Kronika, NPC, don't have to worry about her. The thing with Kronika, though, is if she was playable, she would be OP. I do a lot of the character towers whenever I want to learn a new character, because that's the best way, in my opinion, to learn how to play a character. the last mission of the first set of character towers is always beat Kronika, and it takes forever to always beat her, especially with a character I'm learning, because she's just ridiculous. But she's the main boss character, so that's what you expect. Next up we have Kung Lao. He was a bigger problem in the beginning of the game than he was now. And I don't think they've buffed or really nerfed him much. Again, I don't keep update with the patch notes, so I don't really know. But his only really pluses that I see is his down 3 is the fastest down 3 in the game, and that's super annoying. And then Buzzsaw, which is the dumbest move ever created in any Mortal Kombat game ever. Because, why? It's safe on block. It goes anywhere on the screen. You can't avoid it. You can't neutral duck it. All you can do is block it. But if they amplify, his hat stays there, and he can go up and grab you. He can do whatever he wants. You're really kind of stuck at their will. Though some characters do have ways around it. Noob Slide, if the amplifies, will actually get through it. Night Wolf's parry will send it back to him if he whips it out without amplifying. But pretty much every other move of his is really not that great. He's got his spin, which is super punishable on block. He's got the jump. He's also another one that likes to stay in the air. But that dive kick is super punishable on block. Yeah, and a lot of his normals also have big enough gaps where you can poke him out of it or punish him out of it. He's also got the Z-Hat move, which is a decent projectile, but it has a really long startup, so you see him start to grab his hat and start doing that Z motion, you know all you have to do is throw a projectile back at him and that hat's not coming out. So I'm going to throw Kung Lao down here in the low tier. This one I feel is going to be pretty controversial, but let's face it, Kung Lao isn't what he used to be when this game first started. His teleport also pretty easy to poke him out of that, and if they amplify it or delay it, you have enough time to back out of it. And really the only time you ever see anyone use the teleport is for the command grab or that overhead. So all you have to do is pretty much predict what they're going to do. If you're getting hit with the overhead, it's not that much damage. If he's going to grab you, you can down 2 punish it by neutral ducking. Or just mash down 1 until they come out of the ground and they'll get hit and then they get no move out of it. So you don't even have to play the guessing game. So he's going to be a low tier. The only thing keeping him, well, there's no tier lower than low tier, but Buzzsaw is really the only move that could possibly bump him up to okay, but everything else about him is just not what it used to be. Now we have his other Shaolin monk brother, Liu Kang. Liu Kang is another one of those most annoying characters to play against online. A lot of people say, buff Liu Kang. No. Liu Kang is OP. Nerf him. His 1-2-3 move, his normal, which is safe on block and has some of the fastest startup frames I've ever seen, makes him OP. He's got that Nunchaku or Nunchaku, I don't know how you pronounce it, but that Nunchuk move where it's a command grab. That move's OP. He's got a couple other Nunchuk mix-ups where one's a high, one's an overhead. And he can special cancel that too. So you have to guess between a lower and overhead, or if he cancels it, he's safe there, and then he can also cancel it and then do his command grab. So you're pretty much just helpless against that move. And again, his 1-2-3 has such a quick startup that all Liu Kang players do online is just mash that. His forward 4-3, up 3, or up 4, I think it is, that one with the crushing blow, that one has a gap that's punishable, but if you play more experienced Liu Kangs, none of them actually finish that string, where they'll just do the first 2 hits, see if you block it, and then they'll switch to normally the 1-2-3 or command grab, and you're basically just stuck trying to block the whole time because of how fast he is. His specials are unsafe on block. His low fireball amplified is unsafe. You block the first hit, neutral duck the second, and he's unsafe. If you his bicycle kick's unsafe, and then his dragon kick is unsafe. But his teleport move, that mix-up where it's between an overhead or a low, that one is safe on block. You just got to jump over it though, and then you can punish it. He's just a very annoying character. So he is OP. A lot of people who main Liu Kang will be like, oh no, I main Liu Kang. He needs buffs. He doesn't need to be nerfed. Like, no. If you main Liu Kang, of course you're going to want him to get stronger than he already is, but he's already too OP. Take it from a guy who plays a lot of Liu Kangs online. He is super annoying, and he needs nerfs. Slow him down a little bit. I know he's the golden child of Mortal Kombat. He's the main character, and he becomes a god at the end of the Aftermath story. but he does not need to be this OP. Coming up with Nightwolf. Nightwolf, I think, is actually the most balanced character in this game. He's like a poor man's SubZero. He's got that forward 2, which is an overhead like SubZero. But what makes him more balanced is he doesn't have any low startups. His only low startup is the first hit's a mid and the second hit's a low. And that's his back 3-4. So all you really have to do is block high against the Nightwolf. And just watch out for that forward 2. And that forward 2 has a lot slower startup than SubZero's forward 2. So it's a lot easier to rack 2 online. He does have the command grab. It is a high command grab, a 3-button input. Or a 4-button input, I'm sorry. I lost my train of thought where I was going with him. But the command grab is a high, so you can just neutral duck it. A lot of his normals are unsafe on block. His 1-1-1, if that whiffs, that's completely unsafe. I do that so many times in a game where they take one step back and that 1-1-1 will completely miss because of its limited range. And I'm getting hit with the full combo punish. But, he is one of the more balanced characters in the game. I'm going to throw him in the good category. But what's keeping him out of the great category is he doesn't have that natural low normal. I think if he did have that, he might actually just skip great and go straight to OP. But I do like Nightwolf, one of my favorite characters in this game. And I hope McFarlane makes a Nightwolf character, because that's definitely something that I'm going to pick up when it comes out. Especially because his base costume is really cool. I really like that. Now we have Noob Scibot. He is another hit and miss. Hit or miss. He has no overhead startups. His really only mix-up is his 1-1. So you can either go 1-1-2, which is an overhead, or 1-1 special cancel to Shadow Slide, which is a low. The Shadow Slide is safe on block, but it's unsafe on whiff. And if you try and combo into a Shadow Slide, and let's see, it's his forward 2-2-1-2 move. If you special cancel that into Shadow Slide, your opponent has time to armor break between that. And if they armor break when your Shadow Slide comes out, or like right before it comes out, then they whiff you for full combo punish. That happens so many times online, especially this last season since I played a whole lot of Noob Scibot. But yeah, most of his specials are safe on block from what I can tell, except for his teleport. But you don't see many people just throwing out a raw teleport because of how unsafe it is, and it's a high. So you can either neutral duck it or block it, and you can still down 2 crushing blow it. But a lot of his normals are safe on block, except for his back 3-1-3, which is unsafe. And technically his back 1-1-3 is also unsafe, but it's only unsafe against like Liu Kang, Johnny Cage, and Cassie Cage, where they have moves that launch them really quick. Like his Dragon Kick or his Shadow Kick, those will punish that move. But that's about it, from what I can tell. So Noob Scibot, you're going to be in the good category. The thing keeping you out of great is the lack of mix-ups. Next we have my main man Raiden here, the guy who made this channel famous, and the guy who I started playing more and more because of all the zoners in Combat League. To be honest, Raiden really isn't that fun to play as. The only reason I do it is for that Sparkport teleport. That's because that is one of the best teleports for dealing with zoners in this game. But unfortunately his Sparkport does take up 2 slots, compared to Centurion's. Teleport only takes 1 slot. Scarlet, teleport only takes up 1 slot. Raiden's his takes up 2. So if you want to have that Sparkport, the only other option you have for a launcher in this game is his Storm Cell. I actually get a lot of people in my comments on my videos saying, especially against spammers, saying like, oh, well, all you're doing is spamming Storm Cell. Why don't you try any other move to combo and do? So that's because Raiden does not have any other options if you're using Sparkport. Now, he does have other variations that are a lot more fun to play. If you've ever seen Mr. Wonderbread on YouTube, shout out to Mr. Wonderbread. He's another Raiden player, but he uses the Raiden variation. That move, in order to launch with that, you also need 2 slots. You need Quick Charge, and then the move where it's a low staff move. And that can be a little bit of a mix-up with his forward 3-2, but overall, he doesn't really have a whole lot of mix-ups. He's got a low starter that's really slow on startup, so it's not, always the best for coming out. And he's got 1 overhead, which is the back 2-2. And again, that is so slow on startup and is very punishable on block. So if you ever try and whip that out in match, the only time you can really get it out is, if you got your opponent trapped in the corner and, they're just kind of low blocking you, or they're just camping low blocking you. But if they're smart, they can react to it quickly enough. And that's really the only other time he's got a mix-up is if you hit one of those back twos. Because then there's that second hit's a crushing blow, so a lot of people instinctively block high on that, and then you can just hit him with your low move and launch him. Though a lot of his specials are very punishable on block. He's got one which is the down forward 2. That one is safe on block. That's a really good move of Raiden's and probably his best move. But his electric fly is unsafe on block. Storm Cell, if you know how to punish it, it's very unsafe on block. The move I was just talking about that Mr. Wonderbread uses, where he throws the staff on the ground and launches you, that's unsafe on block. His only other move that makes him a good character is his back 1-2, which when the game first started out was not actually a command grab. I don't know if you guys remember that at all, but that used to not command grab at all. They gave him a nerf or a buff right before the Aftermath update, where it became a true command grab, where you can grab the opponent if they're blocking. But you neutral duck that move and you're getting hit with a down 2 crushing blow or just a full combo punish if they don't go with that. So really, a good mix-up with him, though, is that back 1-2, either into command grab or into storm cell. But a lot of people will read that storm cell and just block it and punish it. So it's really not that great of a mix-up, His normals are safe on block, though. He's only got one that's not safe on block. And his electric fly cancel and his spark port make him a pretty good character. If you guys have watched me in a couple of videos, I recently started doing this, but if you go back 1-2, and then you do the spark port, but then go mid-screen, it costs 1 defensive bar, but you use that, it'll trick your opponent into thinking you're doing a command grab, and a lot of times it will mash down 2, and then you can just do a forward 4 into a storm cell, and you hit them with the punish. So that's actually a really good move and really good tech to learn. So that alone is going to keep Raiden in the good category. Otherwise, if it wasn't for Sparkport, I think Sparkport's keeping him out of the okay category, but it's also keeping him out of the great category. Because if it didn't cost 2 bars, or like 2 slots in this variation, he would be a great character. We're going to keep him in good for now. We're going to throw Scorpion up in the good category as well. A lot of people might find this pretty controversial, but all of his normals are pretty much safe. He's got a couple normals that are unsafe on block, but you don't see a lot of people using those. Pretty much all of his specials are unsafe on block, and that's what's keeping him in the good category, not the great. The only really way to make him a really good character is the Hellport cancel, and you're seeing kind of less and less of that, and you're seeing more of his the Air Sinblade move with the that kind of 3-way mix-up he's got, where it's an overhead, a low, or a poke, where he just pulls out his sword. But again, that move is unsafe on block, so if you read it correctly, which the overhead's the slowest of those 3, so if you just block low and wait for that overhead animation to pop up, you can, just quickly let go of down, block high, and then punish it for a full combo punish. So that's going to throw Scorpion in the good category, not the great. I know a lot of people get annoyed with Scorpions online. If they're a good Scorpion, they're going to use Hellport cancel. If they're a bad Scorpion, they're going to use, the other variation with his, the one that gives them the more moves. I don't remember what that one's called, but that's usually the sign that's the bad Scorpion, and you can beat them really easily. A lot of Scorpions will spend a lot of time trying to run away, throwing spears, wait for you to do something unsafe, and they'll teleport, because he's got one of the better teleports in the game for, speed, but it's very punishable on block, and all you really have to do is do a move, like just a quick little move that's, got a quick recovery, and you can punish it pretty good. Bait that teleport and punish him. Up next, we have Shang Tsung. He's, from what I've seen, Shang Tsung's becoming a little bit more popular in Combat League. A lot of his normals are safe on block, and a lot of his specials are safe on block. You normally see the variation where he's got all the ninjas, though you'll see the ground eruption one too a lot, and that move is super annoying. It's safe on block, and it pushes you far away. So it gives the Shang Tsung, it makes him safe, gives him time to do whatever he wants. And a lot of his normals have pretty quick recovery and startup frames, and I actually face a lot of Shang Tsungs that just mash on block. where the second, you block something, all of a sudden they're doing his 1-1 or his low kick move. So Shang Tsung, you are OP, which, I'm okay with Shang Tsung being OP in this. Because he was dead before Aftermath really came out. No one really knew what happened to him. Then Aftermath came out, and he was just great in that story altogether. And I really like this character. I used to play him, but his damage output is a little bit weaker. For 1 meter, you're probably doing around 23-25%, which is not good for a 1 meter combo. But the fact that he's pretty quick and can just kind of mash his way to a victory, it doesn't matter. You look at him twice and you're getting hit with 2 combos and you're already halfway dead. That's kind of the same with Liu Kang. I didn't really touch him before, but his damage output isn't the greatest either. But his speed, like Shang Tsung's, these two is what makes these two OP. Alright, next we have Shao Kahn. A lot of people have Shao Kahn right here in the low tier because of how easy it is to flawless block a lot of his moves. A lot of his specials were unsafe on block before his latest buff. He does have some of the... Again, he's one of the top 3 characters for damage output in the game. But, a lot of his moves can be easily flawless blocked. But here's where I'm going to put Shao Kahn. I'm going to put him in the great category. And you can disagree with me if you want, but you'd be wrong. Yes, his moves are pretty easy to flawless block, and I actually have an easier time beating Shao Kahn's now after the buff than I did before the buff. But if you have to spend 1 defensive bar and 1 offensive bar just to be able to punish a character, then they are OP. All of his normals are pretty much safe on block. A bunch of his specials are safe on block now that he got buffed. The only one is his shoulder charge that is unsafe, but you don't see people just randomly whip that out. And if you do, it's normally because they're whiff punishing you. His back 3 is really good. It's a launcher and actually can lead to a lot of damage. And if you've ever played a Shao Kahn online, they'll either sweep a back 4 or a back 3 to start the game off, and then they'll immediately mash down 3. I've watched a couple YouTubers lately. There's one, I forget his name, but he's a Shao Kahn main. And I was watching his gameplay to see how he plays, and that dude just mashes down 3 on block every time. I saw him do like 3 down 3s in a row. And nothing is more annoying than someone who's just going to mash that down 3 the entire game. That's more of like a desperation move, if you ask me. Your move was blocked, and now the opponent has a chance to do something to you, but you're just going to mash down 3 over and over again because you don't want them to even get the chance to try something on you. The other one, pros and cons. He has beef with me for absolutely no reason. I have no idea why. But he commented on one of my videos saying that I seem like a nice guy, but my gameplay is absolute garbage, and so I should shut down my channel because I mashed down 2. And the video he commented on that is I baited a spawn into a grab in the corner, and then I punished him with a down 2. And to him, I guess that's mashing down 2 on block. Doesn't make sense to me. But anyways, I watched some of his videos. I'm not going to lie, he is a good player, but like all Shao Kahn mains, he's constantly mashing down 3. And ironically, I watched a game of his where he sat there mashing down 2 a whole bunch. Like, he was mid-screen, away from his opponent, jump distance, and all of a sudden he was just mashing down 2 and the person was nowhere near him. So, I'll give him that. Don't really respect pros and cons at all, just because of how he decides to be as a person, but as a player, he is decent. But a lot of that is Shao Kahn. I don't care what you say. He's a great character in this game. High damage output, safe on all of his normals, and Shao Kahn mains do nothing but just mash online. So that's why he's in this great category. Now, after that little rant, we're on to Scarlet. Scarlet is going to be okay. I was deciding between whether she was low tier or okay. What's keeping her okay is that she has good range, and a lot of her normals are safe on block. She's designed to be a zoner, but she's not the best zoner in the game. You teleport behind her. A lot of her projectiles are pretty punishable. The biggest one is that tentacle, the blood tendril. That one, I think, is the most unsafe on block, but it's also got a pretty quick startup and can reach anywhere on the screen. So if you read that's going to come out, just teleport behind her, and then you can just full combo punish her while she's recovering from that. She does have a lot of gaps too where you can flawless block. But like I said with Shao Kahn, if you have to spend an offensive and defensive meter just to punish someone, they are too OP. But Scarlet just really doesn't have a whole lot of moves to work with that make her, that would throw her up in the grate. And I don't see a lot of Scarlets actually mashing in this game. They just kind of, they'll do a move, then they'll back up and use her reach, because she's got really good reach like D'Vorah to try and punish you. But she's an okay character in my opinion. When the beta first came out, I played a lot of Scarlet trying to learn how to pick her up, but again, I prefer combos over zoning, so I kind of dropped her after that. Also, fun fact, I used to play Centurion a lot because I really like this character design, and I would actually do combos with her. Her water combo, where she throws you in a water ball and then just keeps you in the air for a little bit and you combo into it. But then as time went on, I realized that, she's more designed for zoning, and the combos weren't doing that much damage. 1 meter was like doing 20%. So I just didn't like that, so I just stopped. Because I refused to sit, run away, and zone in a game design, or in a fighting game. In a game where you're supposed to fight your opponent. If I want to shoot someone or throw projectiles, I'm going to go play Call of Duty. Next up we have Sonya Blade. She's also going to join Scarlet here in the OK cat. Alright, I guess the computer spoke. We're going to throw her in the OK category. She's a decent character. Decent damage. Not the greatest though. And, another character that's kind of more designed for zoning. She's got her energy rings, which are a really good move. The first is a high. The second, if you amplify it, is a mid. It has that crushing blow to it. That's a really good move, but it's also pretty punishable. Not on block because of the pushback, but if it whiffs, you teleport behind her, then it's pretty easy to beat. She doesn't really have many natural mix-ups. She's got one, but it's really kind of easy to read. You don't really get hit with that mix-up. Where the second move of the hit's an overhead. It can either be an overhead or a low. Most times they go for the overhead because then it launches. So you just block high on that, and that move, if they finish it, is punishable. Same with the low, because a lot of times they'll do that first move, go to low, and then we'll do her kind of like slide, where she grabs your legs, twists you, and then it's a crushing blow if you're stand blocking. That move is punishable. So she is decently quick on her normals, though, so that's keeping her out of the low tier. I'm going to throw her in the OK tier. Next up, we have SubZero. Where should we put SubZero, guys? I'm going to stop you now and put him OP. This is the funniest thing that I find whenever I watch Sikander's streams, is he always talks about how broken of a character Jade is and how carries. I hate to break it to you guys, especially you, Sikander. I like your videos. You're definitely a great player, but you do get carried by SubZero quite a bit, and I'm saying that in the nicest way possible. He is the most broken character in the game. He's got that forward 2, which is the overhead, which has fast startup. He's got the back 1, which is the low, which has a fast startup, and you can combo into it. His damage output isn't the greatest. For 1 meter, you're doing probably around 26-27%, but he's got a lot of crushing blows, or not a lot. He's got decent crushing blows. He's got the slide crushing blow. He's got probably the second best slide in this game, right behind Aaron Black, in my opinion. And the slide, even though it is punishable, it isn't that punishable because there's a little bit of pushback, and because he stays low when he slides and just stays there, all high attacks are going to miss. You got to hit him with your fastest mid right away, or he's able to recover. And a lot of times Sub-Zeros will slide and then neutral duck and throw out down 2, because a lot of characters' fastest move is a high attack, so they'll try and punish with that high, but that gives them time to recover and throw out that down 2. He's also pretty safe on a lot of his specials. He's got that Ice Ball amplified. It absorbs projectiles and becomes a mid. Otherwise, his normal is a high, and you can just neutral duck that. And if you're up close to a Sub-Zero, the Ice Ball is punishable. So I always love when a Sub-Zero throws out an Ice Ball when I'm right in front of him, because it's easy to block or avoid and then just full combo punish. But that slide does come out pretty quick, and that's a low. And a lot of Sub-Zeros, I think it's the Rising Ice move, which is safe on block, amplified or not, makes him just OP. He is an overpowered character, and they did nerf him once, from what I can tell, but the only thing they really did to nerf him is his forward 2 used to combo into the Ice Ball, but now it doesn't combo into it anymore. The only way to combo into a forward 2 is if you amplify the Ice Ball. So it costs 1 meter there, but a lot of times you can get probably like 25% damage without any meter because of the ice ball. And he does have good range. All of his normals are safe on block. And SubZeros know this because every time they do a normal string, they're hitting you with a down 2 immediately after, stealing their turn back. And then that's super annoying. And the second that happens, they get a chance to reset. And it's always a 50-50 between that low, that back one, or the forward two on whether he's going to do a high or a low on you. So even though his damage output isn't the greatest, his mix-ups put him there where it doesn't matter how good his damage is. His Fatal Blow also doesn't scale at all. I am 100% convinced his Fatal Blow is the only one that doesn't scale. I'll have like 50% health. The SubZero will have like 10. They will hit me with like a 10-hit combo, and then we'll finish it on top of those 10 hits with the Fatal Blow, which should scale somewhat. Normally scales down to, should be 15 to 20% with that many hits, but no, it does the whole 33% combos, I swear to God. So yeah, sorry Sikander. I agree with you. I hate Jade's. Probably the second most person that hates Jade's right behind you, but you're playing a broken character. You don't have a whole lot of area to complain about a different broken character. Though you are really good. I'm not trying to start beef. You'd kick my ass in a first to 10 nothing, guaranteed. You're a great player, but you gotta watch with that broken character stuff, man. Next up, we have Terminator. He has a very similar moveset to SubZero with his forward 2 and then that low move. But they come out a little bit slower. He doesn't have a whole lot of normal moves to use, and pretty much all of them are safe on block. He doesn't have the greatest range, though. His projectiles are alright. He's got an alright teleport. His teleport's actually one of the better ones in the game, too, and actually was one of the best moves to use to avoid Shiva's stomp when Shiva had her OP stomp. But, yeah, his just range isn't that great. His specials are also safe on block from what I've seen. And he's got a really good command grab too, which is also a high for a command grab, a 4-button output. But it's a pretty good command grab. And it can switch sides, you can amplify it, there's a crushing blow, and it launches if you get that crushing blow. So I'm going to throw Terminator in the great. His other move, Running Man, is a problem. It's either a kick, a high punch, so it's either a mid, a high, or a command grab. That move really isn't as big of a deal as it might seem, because all you have to do is down 1 him the second you see him running, and it pokes him out of that. And a lot of times you'll trade, but I think they take more damage with that down 1 than you will with whatever he slightly hits you with first. I could be wrong, though. But that's what I do against Terminator. Second you see Running Man is down 1, and it's okay. But his safety is what makes him great. Next up we have Sindel. She's another Indenian. I just hate playing against Sindel players online. All of her normals are safe on block. Like SubZero, she's got an overhead starter and a low starter. So every time she looks at you with a guess between whether she's going low or high. Her low launches without any meter. Her specials are unsafe on block. But, they don't normally whip out a raw special. They always combo into it, unless it's the whip and flip, which has a launching crushing blow if you do a low attack. So a lot of Sindels will down 1 into whip and flip to try and get you to poke him back and then get that crushing blow. But yeah, because all of her normals are pretty much safe on block and she's got that good mix-up, she is OP. She also has her Scream, which has a crushing blow, and that will pretty much reach the entire screen. I've seen it happen where I was full screen. I threw a projectile at her while she was in her Scream stance. She released the Scream and it hit me full screen, and I was just sad. Because it was the end of the game. We were both low health, and I was one projectile away from hitting, and then all of a sudden, Scream. And that move, also because of how good of a range it is, it's pretty hard to punish it. Though if she does it up close and doesn't amplify, you usually have a small window where your fastest mid can punish it. So yeah, she's thrown up here in the OP. And if you guys caught onto the pattern here, the OP status is the most annoying characters to play online, sans these 3, which are also very annoying. But they're not OP, because pretty easy to beat. And we're going to throw Joker up in this OP status right away, too. He has really good damage output. 1 meter does about 33%. But like Shang Tsung and Liu Kang here, he has really fast startups. He's pretty much safe on all of his normals. A lot of his specials are... I really actually take that back. Only one of his specials is unsafe, and that's his overhead staff whack thing. I don't even know what it's called. But he just goes over you and like smashes you on the head. That move's very punishable if you block it. But that becomes a mix-up with his forward. I think it's 1-4. I think it says 1-4-3 where it's either a low or an overhead if you special cancel. But his punching bags is safe on block. His Joker box is safe on block. Just because of all the pushback those have. The only way to punish his punching bags is with a slide or with one of the kicks. But yeah, he's pretty safe on everything, and he's got that fast startup, and he's got really good range. And I would argue he has the second best down 2 right behind Jade. Because Jade's down 2 reaches everywhere. His is right there. And he's got that one Joker box moves where he throws the box down, then explodes after a little bit, and can reach anywhere on the screen depending on where he places it. That move makes him OP because he can do anything he wants to you. That move launches if you amplify it, and you can't punish him at all when he throws that move down because of that delay. So I've had in games where a Joker will throw that down, and I will hit him with like Raiden. I'll hit him with a 1-2-1, which is a crushing blow, and because it is a punish, it should hit him with the crushing blow. But only the first 2 moves will come out before that box explodes and I'm launched in the air and they get a full combo punish. So yeah, Joker, he's OP. Next up we have Spawn. He is top 3 for damage output. The top 3 are Kodokan, Shao Kahn, and Spawn. So he's got really good damage. 1 meter does just under 40% if you do the combo right. He really only has the 1 launcher, and it's really unsafe on block. So that's the negative there. But he has really good range. His normals are safe on block. It's just his specials that are unsafe on block. He doesn't really have any mix-ups either. He has a natural low starter, but not a natural overhead. And the only overhead move he has is really unsafe on block. But it can be used as a pretty good mix-up. Plus, if you get his soul forfeit, where you get the easy crushing blows, I've done it. I have a video up there where you can do 80% damage with 1 grab. He also has the best grab crushing blow in the game. Don't at me. He's going to be in the great category just because of his damage and his range. I actually faced a lot of spawns online that just spam 3-4 the entire game, waiting for you to do something just because of how good that range is. They'll get up close and just spam, they'll go 3, 3, 3, 3, 4, 3, 3, and they'll keep doing that over and over. So you can't really punish it because you're waiting for that second move to come out and then it doesn't, and then you're like, oh, okay, well, he's not going to do it. And then that second move comes out, and then you're getting hit with a full combo. And then if you back up where it's out of range, then he just throws projectiles at you, and you're kind of stuck either way. So, Spawn, he's a great character. I really like playing Spawn. He's really fun to play, though it's unfortunate how a lot of people play him online. If you've seen him, Sir D on YouTube, he's a Spawn main who actually got pretty popular Spawn, and his channel actually exploded. Me and him, when our channels first started out, we found each other. And we had about 30 subscribers each, and we started talking about hyping each other's channels up and all that, and all of a sudden, we both just kind of exploded out of nowhere. Mine exploded a little bit sooner than his, but he's right behind me. He's getting there too. So go check him out if you want to see some pretty good Spawn gameplay. He mostly does the shorts though, so most of his videos are under a minute, but some of the combos and gameplay he has, they're pretty impressive, so it's worth a check out. Next up, we have Fujin. Fujin I really like playing. He's a really fun character. His combos are just really hard to execute though. Like the timing for those, it's like you miss just on a millisecond and the combo doesn't come out. The best example I have of that is his back 1 2 2 1 that move where he whips out the sword. You can special cancel that into Skywalker for a combo, but you have to time it right. The second you hear that third sword hit is when you can use Skywalker. Otherwise, you do it a second before or a second after and it doesn't come out. His other good move is his air push. That move, the first hit doesn't do any damage though. The second, or like a sliver of damage, and the second hit barely does any damage if you amplify it. The only good thing about that move is the crushing blow if you punish, close, mid, and far. But you don't really see that a whole lot. The good thing about that move is it comes out really quick and it can keep your opponent far away from you, and it's safe on block. Unless, you're up close and Liu Kang does his dragon kick. But, yeah, he's got a lot of really good moves. His normals are safe on block. I think there's one where it ends in a low, that one's unsafe on block, but pretty much everything else is safe on block. He's got great range. His damage output is actually pretty good. 1 meter does about 30%, and he actually has a meter list that does just under 30%. So Fujin is a great character, but I'm not going to say he's OP just because of how hard it is to execute his combos. Next up we have Shiva. She was OP. She would be right up here if you talked to me 3-4 months ago. But after they nerfed her Dragon Drop, she bumped down a tier. So she's going to be in the great tier, actually. Her Dragon Drop now is so easy to avoid. Before, the only way I could punish it is with Raiden. Another reason why Raiden became one of my most played characters is because of these two people right here and how much they were spammed. But like, I couldn't punish her with Nightwolf, I couldn't punish her with Baraka if she did her Dragon Drop, but now I can, and it's super relaxing knowing that you don't have to deal with that Dragon Drop anymore. Though she does have her Dragon Stance where she grabs the 4 fireballs, that move still gets spammed quite a bit. But what's making her great is her mix-up. She doesn't have great range, her range is actually pretty bad, but if she gets anywhere far enough away from you, that Dragon Stance move, the 4 fireballs, is good enough to keep you where you're at. It doesn't cost any meters to whip out 4 projectiles, and if you do whip out 4 projectiles, she can Dragon Drop you, and you're stuck either getting Dragon Dropped or getting hit by that projectile. But what makes her good up close is her mix-up. I think it's the forward 1-2 or forward 2-on, one of those moves where the second hit's an overhead. That move, that move's the mix-up. So if they hit that first hit, they can either do an overhead, they can do Queen's Punishment, which is a low, which adds bleed. So if she hits you with Queen's Punishment, and then you try, she amplifies it, and you try and back away, you get hit with quite a bit of bleed damage, actually. And she also has her overhead command grab, I'm going to call it. It's not a true overhead, but it only grabs you if you're blocking low. So technically it's an overhead, even though it's listed as a grab. That move launches if they amplify it. So a lot of Shivas will mix up between the Queen's Punishment, which adds quite a bit of bleed damage, or that launcher. And a lot of those mix-ups like that, where it's either a low or a overhead, or like a command grab, you can just jump over it and avoid both of them completely. But I've tried teching that in practice mode very, very often, and you can't jump over that Queen's Punishment. So even if you know it's coming out and you try and jump over it, it's still going to grab you, and you're still going to get hit with that damage. Plus, she can also switch sides with that Queen's Punishment. So she's a great character. Keeping her, she got bumped out of OP when they nerfed her Dragon Drop and then her range. But everything else, she's a really good character. And I actually have a lot of fun playing Shiva. I just don't, because pretty much anytime you play Shiva, you're getting hit with bags. And I like having a little bit more range so I don't have to be up close to my opponent's face to do a combo. Because a lot of times you try and do that and you're getting hit with a down 1 before you can even have your combo come out. Right up next is RoboCop. We're almost done here, guys. 4 more, so bear with me. I don't know how long this is or how boring it is to watch. But we're this far, so let's just finish her up. RoboCop, he's going to be in the good category. I'd probably say, the best zoner in the game, or he's tied with Centurion for one of the best zoners in the game. He's got that, it's now a mid, so that the low auto 9 is now a mid. I always thought that was a low, but you can block high on that and it doesn't hit you, so I think it's a mid now. He's got his control cannon, which amplified does 3 hits and pushes you back. He does quite a bit of chip damage with his projectiles, and he's got his command grab, which is a mid command grab, a 4-button output. And that's what's keeping him out of the OK or low tier category, is that command grab. But you don't really see that often with RoboCop players unless they get you in the corner, because a lot of them are just trying to zone you out. And again, you have a character with a teleport and you can get right behind him. Though he does have pretty good startups for his normals when he's up close. They're really quick on startup, and they're all mids pretty much. And they also have pretty good recovery frames too, or enough pushback where it's safe on block. So he's a good character. You know, I always thought he was low tier just because he's designed for zoning. But as I've kind of like matured with the game, or as the game has matured and I've come to realize some things, I realized that zoning is super annoying and it shouldn't be in this game, but it is a part of this game and it can make a character better than it is. So that's why RoboCop is good and not low tier. He would completely skip the OK tier if, it wasn't for his specials or his moves that are safe, his normals for up close. He would be down here, but that command grab also bumps him over OK. So he's either low tier or good. Not here. Kind of rambled there, but you get the gist. Next up, we have Rain. Rain is like Fujin. His combos are really hard to come out. For whatever reason, his 2-4-2 move just does never want to come out for me. Like, you have to like really quickly click 2-4-2 on rapid succession. You can't special cancel that move until you finish the combo. You can special cancel at the end of the combo, but like let's say you do 2-4 and then you try and do his like Geyser, for example. It wouldn't work, but let's say you try and do that. It's not going to come out. You're just going to do a 2, and then you'd stand there looking stupid. I can't tell you how many combos I've dropped with Rain just because that move never wants to come out. Though he is pretty quick on his a lot of his startups. A lot of his moves are quick. He's got really only one decent mix-up, and that's with the Water Pulse, where he pushes the ground. He's got the Rising Geyser, where he jumps up into the air, in the big puddle of water, and then he amplifies it. That move amplified, they can normally jump 3 you, and then combo into that, or the second they land, they have no recovery, so they can just do a normal string right away. That's safe, and I see a lot of Rains do that. But what I've learned with Raiden is the second they jump up in the air, you have a second to do Storm Cell, and then you punish them in the air with Storm Cell. And then you get a combo punish out of that. He does have pretty good range. He's got good tools for avoiding zoning. But he is not as good as a character as I thought he would be when the trailer for him first came out. So I'm going to throw him in this good category. Just because of his moves are pretty quick. And not a lot of them are punishable. A couple of his specials are punishable on block, but not a lot of them. So he's just going to be in here, and his damage output isn't the greatest. So actually, we're going to bump him down to OK just because of that damage output. His combos are hard to do, and he doesn't do a lot of damage for those combos. So yeah, he could be a better character. And also, I do not agree with Rain in this game at all. He was a DLC character in Mortal Kombat 9. Either make him a base character in this game, which he would have fit in the story perfectly. They bring him back, and he wants revenge on Kodokan or whoever. So he would be perfect in Shao Kahn's army, as the mischievous backstabber he is. But maybe he comes back in Mortal Kombat 12 working with Havoc. I would be okay with that. That would actually be a pretty good storyline. But yeah, he's just an okay character. Now we have Mileena. Mileena I'm actually going to throw here in the low tier with Kung Lao and D'Vorah. She doesn't have that great of range. A lot of her specials are punishable on block. The only good thing she's really got going for her is her projectiles. And, she's not a zoning character in any sense. I don't think she's really designed to zone. She's got one low projectile, which costs a slot in the variation. And you don't see that a whole lot, but you see mostly is her projectile where she throws 2 of the size and then high and then 2 low. That move's really her only good projectile, but it costs a meter just to get those lows. And normally you can just neutral duck those first ones, so she isn't really viable as a zoner. Whereas like Centurion, she's got lows and mids and highs, all projectiles, where she really only has highs and amplify it, you get a low. So her range isn't great. She really doesn't have any mix-ups. Her one mix-up is a command grab. But again, with that command grab mix-up, you're either getting hit if you read it right, and she's going to grab you, you hit her with a down 2 crushing blow or a full combo punish. If you read that she's going to do literally anything else, like if she special cancels under a Mileena ball, that's unsafe on block and you can hit her with full combo punish. Or if she just finishes the string where she doesn't command grab and she just pokes you, if you read that wrong, you're not taking that much damage, so it really, doesn't matter if you take that. She's just not that good of a character. Another character I did not agree with in that combat pack, that last combat pack 2, was just so disappointing. He was in 9, so I didn't want him back as another DLC. She was playable in 9 and 11, so I would have preferred a character that wasn't playable in 11. Somebody who was playable in 9, but maybe not 11. Like Shang Tsung, give him that 1 game gap and bring him back. But having him in 2 games and then bring her back as a DLC in a 3rd, that just wasn't that great. Lastly, we have Rambo. Rambo I'm going to actually throw in here with this low tier 2. He is actually deciding between whether he's okay or low. Again, really not many mix-ups. His only mix-up is if you have that commando move, which adds the command grabs. But again, they're all high command grabs, so you neutral duck, and you can do a full combo punish. He has his forward 1-2-2, I think it is, which is a launcher, but that is very unsafe on block. So if they whip that move out and you read it's a command grab, because that also ends in a command grab, you can just neutral duck and punish it. Or if he launches you, or if he doesn't do the command grab and he's going to go launch you, you can just block it and then you can hit him with the full combo punish. His plus sides, though, is his Claymore is a really good move. He launches that down, he can pretty much zone you out. But again, his zoning tools aren't the greatest like Molina. He's got that mid kind of like not the bear trap, but the spike stick that comes out and whacks you in the ankles. That's a mid, so you can block high on that, and it's punchable on block, so if they whiff it, or you can teleport behind him while he's doing that move, you can hit him. Plus, his Claymore can hit himself. So, like, say if he's in the corner, like I've seen people where they're playing a Rambo, and they'll back up full screen as he lays down a Claymore, and then that Rambo's stuck in the corner and they can't do anything, and they get hit with their own Claymore and they get launched up and they take damage. So the Claymore is a really good move, but the fact that it hits him too, it just, not as viable as you'd think. He also, his normals, he's got the one that's unsafe. The rest are pretty safe on block that I can tell. His slide is safe on block if you roll backwards, so he's got good specials, I'd say. He doesn't really have any launching specials or specials you can juggle with, just the one, which is also very unsafe on block. And you can't really use that as a mix-up, it's a low. That's the one that I like using with Rambo. So like his one move, I think it's the back 1-2. So the first hit's the mid, the second hit's the overhead. So if you try and turn that into a mix-up, like let's say you confirm the hit, that first hit, that one, and then you go into the low move, that's not going to hit. It doesn't hit at all. They have enough time to recover unless you hit that second overhead move, which is super annoying. So Rambo, again, this was the one character I liked in this combat pack. He has decent moves, but they can make it better by giving those moves faster startup. So that's all I have for this tier list. Let me know how you guys think about this. If there's anyone you would move around, let me know. And why, don't just say, oh, I think RoboCop should be OP. Oh, why? Why should he be there? So let me know if there's anything you want to change, and leave a comment below. Thanks for watching, guys. I know this is a little bit longer of a video and might have been boring and drawn out. You can just skip to the end if you want and just see where I rank every character, but if you want the full explanation, just watch the full video. But thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next time.